Hello again, honky tonks. It's just you and I as I walk around this field, minus Wellington boots, thanks to Mrs. 49 misplacing them. So I've been soaked already, or as we say in North Wales, had a socksan. If you're a Welsh speaker, you know what I mean. Women. Talking of women, betrayal. It's always a woman that betrays me for some reason, I don't know. Must be me. Betrayal's a horrible thing. I think it's human nature to be treacherous. We've all done it. We've all been victims of it. Whether being intentional or not, it hurts. It really does. And talking of treachery, the Houses of Parliament. What happened there the other night is still raging on. There will be massive consequences, ramifications about what happened, and it won't be the MPs who pay for it. It'll be us, the British public, their constituents, the same constituents which they ignored in favour of a conflict in Gaza, hundreds of miles away, which has nothing to do with us. They keep wasting parliamentary and constituents' time talking and debating this. The only thing they should be talking about in Parliament regarding that is a plea to Hamas, the terrorists, to release the Israeli hostages. And that's it. Nothing the MPs vote on or talk about in Parliament will have any impact over there because they don't care. We're not a great power anymore. We have no influence. Benjamin Netanyahu isn't going to give a toss about what some pro-Hamas, free plasticine, woke, virtue signalling, deranged member of Parliament is going to demand. It ain't going to happen. What a waste of time. But it has kind of exposed them for what they really are, and they're traitors. And I'm not using that word lightly. The MPs in Parliament are treacherous, treasonous snakes who are out for themselves. Now, what happened the other night? I did tell you it was because of extremism, intimidating MPs, but it goes far deeper. It's all about self-preservation, not just the pro-Hamas, free plasticine lot. They have been intimidating them, by the way, outside Parliament, spitting on them, throwing eggs at them, surrounding their homes, going to MPs' homes, killing one of them, David Amos, I believe his name was. Correct me in the comments if it wasn't. But despite all this, from that certain ideology, Lindsay Hoyle, the speaker, came out on telly yesterday, and he sounds like Keith Lemon with a lemon in his mouth, doesn't he? With a banana in his mouth. I have integrity. I love Parliament, me. I'll always put my MPs first. A funny sounding man. But he's not the kindly, saintly old grandad that he purports to be. He's projecting on camera. He's a nasty, cowardly, treacherous piece of work. And he broke the law, he broke parliamentary rules, and nothing's going to happen to him. I think at the moment, at this time of me making this video, 60 odd MPs have signed a letter of no confidence, but they won't get rid of him. I love my job, me. I love being speaker. Ooh. His dad is a member of the House of Lords. He's got a get out of jail free card, hasn't he? So nothing will happen to him. But what happened was all about the Labour Party. It was Keir Starmer playing Game of Thrones. Swapping hands again. Oh, here we go. Wish me luck. Oh, ah, no. Ah, Mrs. 49. It was all about the preservation of Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. You see, Keir Starmer approached... Oh, I've done it again. Fuck my life. I shouldn't have come here without Wellington. I never learn. See, women, it's hard being a man. It really is hard, because you have to... Anyway. Keir Starmer approached Lindsay Hoyle, and nobody knows what happened or what was said, but Lindsay Hoyle went along with it. and he broke the rules. Despite the law clerks in Parliament saying you can't do this, he went and did it anyway. And his excuse was he wants to keep MPs safe from extremists, and then he blames the far right all of a sudden. He blames the far right, and I have just, what an idiot. And the far right have nothing to do with this. It's not the far right that are outside Parliament assaulting MPs, spitting, throwing eggs at them. It wasn't the far right that killed David Amos. It's not the far right that surrounded their homes. And it's not the far right threatening MPs. And MPs get threatened on a daily basis. So why do this now and blaming on that now? I'll leave it for you to guess. Well, like I said, it's self-preservation, isn't it? But as I'll explain in a minute. Sorry, I'm drifting off. Now, the Labour Party is in trouble. It's into trouble because of its core voters. Its core voters now are not the working class British people like you and me, but mainly Muslim and migrant votes. That's why they're championing them. That's why radical Islamists in this country are feeling emboldened to do what they do. And because Keir Starmer refused to call for a ceasefire in Gaza, Labour candidates in by-elections, Labour MPs, Labour voting judges even, spoke out and became openly anti-Semitic. And that was bad for Keir Starmer and the Labour Party, because they're their core voters. They threatened to start their own Islamic political party, which should never happen in this country, by the way. There should never be a religious political party ever in this country. This country should remain secular. Otherwise, the freedoms we are rapidly losing at the moment, they'll disappear even more rapidly under a religious political group. And any religious group, not just Islamic, by the way. There's a reason the church and state are now separate. Very good reason. So all these Islamic Labour politicians, candidates, MPs are all being openly anti-Semitic and threatening to break away and threatening to not vote for the Labour Party. And this shit up Keir Starmer so much he had to do this. He had to call for a ceasefire, and then he had to call for an amendment for the votes which the SNP were calling for, and they needed that vote. Labour are going to win anyway the next general election. I've told you, it's in the bag. It really is in the bag. And I urge you all, before you attack me, please look into Richard Tice. Not so much the Reform Party, but Richard Tice. He's not what he seems. Information came to me yesterday by someone. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll let this person do it because it's theirs. But information about Richard Tice has reached me, which is quite concerning. Which is why I will not be voting Reform as long as he is the head of Reform, the leader. It ain't gonna happen. I suspected him all the while, and if the news I've heard is confirmed, then I was right. What the fuck is that? Is that a dog or a cow? What's a tree? So all that happened was about Keir Starmer protecting and preserving the Labour Party and getting in a new law to pay for, oh my god, that's deep and that's cold. I was going to tell a joke then, but I won't. I won't get monetized if I say that joke. They will pass a law now because of this to give them more security and protection from an ideology which they have insisted on importing. I've said it. Meanwhile, the rest of us have to live with them. This will cost more money. So, well, the MPs the other day were all there, jam-packed in the Houses of Parliament to vote on Gaza. When it came to excess deaths because of the you-know-what, nothing. And the MP who brought it up was ostracised from his own party, and nobody came to that debate. That should tell you everything. When it comes to Gaza, they were all there. They were all there to appease a certain demographic vote. That's what it's all about. Those votes keep them in power. Those votes are the core voters for Labour, and they need them. So they've thrown the Speaker of the House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle. They've thrown us, the British public, under the bus for them. And it's very, very concerning indeed. I'm still worried about it. I'm seeing other YouTubers talk about it. I talked to... I told you I'm pleasantly plump. Walking and talking is just a challenge. I'm not a young Corporal Parry anymore. Fit as a fiddle, a machine. I was a machine. Ask all the women in Aldershot. Other veterans I talked to, they're concerned. We fought for our country. We didn't fight for a country like this. We really didn't. It's not the way I want this country to go. I wish I could do more about it. If I could... Thing is, if I stood for election, it'll be as an independent. I wouldn't join any of the main parties because you'd have no influence, you'd have no clout. You need backing to pass laws, and because of what I believe, what I talk about, I won't get that. So I'll last 4 or 5 years in Parliament, I'll be out. It'll be a waste of time. So for the time being, I'm doing this. I know there are YouTubers, big YouTubers, who desperately want to go to politics, that bloody hair, and represent us and do the right thing, but it'll be futile at the moment because there's not enough of us to do this. And for the very reason I've just told you, we get hounded out. We won't last. We're not part of the establishment, are we? We're not cut to the same cloth. We don't go with the grain. So there we go, that's my thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed this walkie-talkie with me. I have, despite getting soaked. And I know I'll tell Mrs. 49 it's her fault, but she will turn it and say it's mine. Women are great like that. They really are. Behind every great man there's a bussy woman. And I'm a very great man. Oh dear. Right, I'm off. I need a shower. I haven't even had breakfast. Blimey. And that's that. I'm Baz 49. Thanks for listening, and until the next time, Roger Trout.